Good morning, kiddos. Today we're going to talk about the difference quotient, and this is something that was touched on probably in Algebra 2, and we're going to expand on it because we are going to be using it later in this chapter, and we're going to practice every single day, so by the time we get there, we are masters. All right, so our objective is to evaluate the difference quotient of a function. All right, the difference quotient is the function f of x equals f of x plus h minus f of x all over h. And there are a couple steps that I tend to go to when we evaluate the difference function. The first one is to substitute x plus h for every x in the function that you are given. So take that step, break it down, do that first. When you are done with that, we're going to subtract the original function. Make sure we put it in parentheses because this negative right here has to be distributed to everything in this function here. And then we're going to divide by h and do the algebra. I will tell you, you need to do all your work in your composition book for this unit and make sure that you leave plenty of room and be as neat as possible because there are lots of places to make mistakes. All right, so on a side note, this is not in your notes, but just FYI, x plus 3 squared is not x squared plus 9. That is one of the most common mistakes on this unit. Please recall that if you take x plus 3 times x plus 3, that's what the squared means, multiply it by itself, we get x squared plus 3x plus 3x plus 9, which is actually the trinomial x squared plus 6x plus 9. So as you proceed through this unit, please, please, please watch out for that. It is one thing that I see over and over and over, and it causes a lot of issues in the end. All right, excuse me. So for example 1, we have the function f of x equals x squared minus 5x plus 2. So as I stated before, there's 3 steps. The first one has to do with f of x plus h. So I'm going to come down here and I'm going to plug in x plus h in my function everywhere I see an x. So I have x squared, so that's going to turn into x plus h squared, minus 5. I have this x here, so I'm going to substitute in an x plus h, and then plus 2. So that was step 1. I took my function that I was given, I plugged x plus h in for every single x in that function. Step 2 says I'm going to subtract the original function. So now I'm going to subtract the original function. So I'm going to subtract the entire function x squared minus 5x plus 2. And then I'm going to divide all that by h. So I'm going to help you real fast with the first step of algebra, and then I'm going to have you hit pause and work through the rest of the problem. If you have x plus h squared, x plus h times x plus h, this is x squared plus xh plus xh plus h squared, which in the end is x squared plus 2xh plus h squared. Then we're going to distribute this negative 5, so minus 5x minus 5h. And now I'm going to bring down the plus 2. So now I'm right here with this negative. I'm going to distribute that negative to everything in the parentheses. So negative x squared plus 5x minus 2 all over h. So on a good day, a lot of the information in this problem will cancel. So here you have a positive x squared, here you have a negative x squared, gone. Here you have a negative 5x, here you have a positive 5x, gone. Here you have a positive 2, here you have a negative 2, lo and behold, they are gone. So now what happens is we are left with 2xh plus h squared minus 5h all over h. So now if I look at my numerator, I'm like, oh my gosh, look at the numerator. They all have an h in common. So at this point, I am going to GCF out an h. So when I do that, I'm left with 2x plus h minus 5 all over h. And I know this is your favorite step, reducing those h's, and we are left with 2x plus h minus 5. So this difference quotient is the first step for us into evaluating limits, and so we need to make sure that we are really good at doing this. So for example 2, I am going to practice with you. I'm going to get the first variables plugged in, and then I want you to work through the rest of it at your own pace. All right, so I think of, again, 3 steps every single time. 1, plug in x plus h. So I'm going to take my original problem. I'm going to plug in x plus h. I'm literally removing the x's. I am substituting in the x plus h into the function that I have been given. Step 2, subtract the original function. So I'm going to take and I'm going to subtract the original function. So I'm going to subtract 2x squared plus 3x minus 5. And then step 3 is to make sure you bring down the divided by h. And no, you can't leave that step out until the very end. You have to bring it down every single time. So right now, I really do want you to hit pause because some of you are much slower at the algebra than others, and I want you to work through the algebra on your own and then hit resume, and I am going to zippy through this problem. All right, so if I expand this, this is 2 times x squared plus 2xh plus h squared, close my parentheses, plus distribute the 3x plus 3h, minus 5, distribute this negative 2x squared minus 3x plus 5, all over h. So looking right now at what cancels, I have a positive 3x, I have a negative 3x, got a positive 5, got a negative 5. So those are all gone as of right now. I need to distribute this 2, so I have 2x squared plus 4xh plus 2h squared plus 3h minus 2x squared all over h. So now, again, in my numerator, because I distributed the 2x squared and the negative 2x squared can go away. When I look at what I have remaining, all those terms have an h in it. If this doesn't happen, you have done something wrong. So the GCF of the h, so when you GCF h, that should happen every single time you do a difference quotient problem. If it does not, you have made a mistake somewhere in the algebra. Please go back and try to track it down. If you come ask me for help, please do not erase your work because I can usually find your mistake, despite how sloppy your work sometimes is. All right, and you should have gotten 4x plus 2h plus 3 for your answer. At this point, I am done with examples. There are 2 extra practice problems, so I just would like for you to sit down, especially those of you who algebra, you're really slow and you're very procedural and you need to just do some extra problems to make sure you have it down. So there's an extra practice 1 and an extra practice 2, and work through those, and I will post those answers on the Canvas page. You guys have a great day, and I will see you in class tomorrow. Bye-bye.